We're fishing for wintertime bass. What's up guys, Travis here with Lucky Tackle Box. Today we're throwing Monster Bass's brand new Slim Jim 110. In past videos we've talked about throwing jerkbaits for those pre-spawn bass or chasing the wind in the summertime and looking for those active bass up on these windy banks. But a lot of people don't realize that jerkbaits can be very successful in the wintertime. The reason being is as that water temp dips below 50 degrees, the shad in the lake really go on a die-off. And they really, as they're dying, they're doing those, oh, I just got bit. Those shad are doing that little shudder, they're trying to stay alive, but as they sink to the bottom, they kind of flutter, and that's exactly what a jerkbait is perfect at mimicking. So let's break down this cold weather. You know, what I like to say is, if there's no ice, the fishing can still be nice. You guys can take that one and work with it a little bit, but let's break down this technique starting with rigging. All right, so the Slim Jim 110 has a great body design that really mimics those dying bait fish and really gets that erratic motion that you want out of a bait. And then what they've done, what's unique to Monster Bass is that they come with the red hooks. And I really like those red hooks. It's been something that's talked about for years and years. But what it is red represents, wounded. Represents something that's wounded and possibly an easy target for these bass. And that's what really gets them to hone in on that. Now, another thing is this Monster Bass Slim Jim 110, it floats right out of the package, which is great for that early spring, this pre-spawn bass, and through the summer when you're fishing those real windy banks and those aggressive fish. But in this winter time, I want my bait either suspending or actually sinking a little bit, because that's what this bait is doing. These shad are dying off, and as they're sinking down to the bottom, they try to swim back up. So what's happening is they flutter up and then sink down a little bit, flutter up, sink down a little bit. So to get this bait to sink a little bit, I've put on these little lead stickers. What I do is I just evenly space them out and keep applying these things along the body, and I'll double layer them if I need to, and I'll just keep putting these things on there until I get that bait either suspended when I'm jerking it or having a little fall. And I like a little tail fall. So I like to kind of fall and tail first. So that way when I'm jerking it, jerks back up, falls back down just ever so slightly. You don't want it sinking like a rock, just a slow, methodical sink rate. Okay, so it's important to know this is not a cover water technique. This time of the year, you're moving slow. These fish, their metabolism slows down as that water temp gets slow, so you've got to give them a slower presentation. Very important things to retrieve: erratic motion and pauses. To get the erratic motion on semi-slack line, I want to give it little jerks, okay? Now, we can change that anywhere from 1 little jerk to 3 little jerks, but you've got to have a little bit of slack in that line so that bait has the freedom to move erratically all over. If you do it on tight line, that bait just tends to pull just towards the boat. You don't want that. You want that erratic motion. That erratic motion is what gets these fish's attention, right? These fish, they see something going boom, 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 and they look at it, but now the next step is the pause. Now that is the most important thing that we're gonna adjust going into the winter time. Where when the fish are active, when we're early spring, summertime, I can really just give it a tiny pause, jerks, quick pause, jerks, and really just get these fish triggered up, get reaction strikes out of them and all that. But in this cold weather, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with like 5-second pauses, and I'll go up to 10-second pauses. But I'm always counting because I wanna see what these fish are responding to. So what I'll do is I'll give it a couple jerks. Now I'm counting: 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000. Jerk it. Okay, getting their attention. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000. One quick jerk. And so I really want to pay attention to how long it's going to take, how long this bait needs to pause, because these fish, they want that bait that's slowly dying down to the bottom. So if it goes jerking right past them and doesn't have any long pauses, these fish are not going to be interested. They want that easy meal. So if I'm in an area where I know that it's productive, if I'm on a nice point, or look, I got a big area of structure right here, I know there's fish in this area, I know there's bait up in here, then I'm really gonna give it some long pauses. If they're not responding to 5-second, I'm gonna go all the way to a 10-second pause. All right, in terms of a reel, it's not that important. You're doing, the majority of your work on slack line, right? And it's a real slow approach. So you don't really need, the reel's not that important. So I like to just pick out whatever you feel most comfortable. You can make the longest cast, kind of that go-to reel that you have. Today I'm using the 12-pound Seaguar ripping line. It's specially designed for jerkbaits to make longer casts and really be a very strong line that I'm not going to be breaking any big ones off. Location. Guys, jerkbait fishing can be a very visual-oriented technique for bass. So that being said, usually want some kind of clear water. I like at least 2-foot visibility if I'm fishing, in that 5-foot range. But the best, if I'm fishing these deep reservoirs in California and stuff, I like 5, 10, 15-foot visibility. The clearer the water, the better that jerkbait fishing is going to be. We've talked about how we're going to change our presentation as the water cools down. As these fish become less active, we want longer pauses. We want that bait actually kind of slowly sinking, if not at least suspending where it's paused. This is not a technique you can just run and gun this time of the year because these fish, they're a lot slower. They're not out chasing baits, so you need to fish high percentage areas. Those can include any area that's long points, steep bluffs, just any area with a lot of structure. During the wintertime, these fish will flock those main structure areas. So if you've got big bouldery areas, or look right now I'm fishing an area that's got all kinds of pilings. This was a big old dock. This is gonna be a main structure in this lake, and this is where there's always gonna be some fish hanging out during these colder months. Now, because we're trying to mimic these bait fish, we want to find areas that bass are actually feeding on this bait. So there's some easy signs to figure that out. I always look for visual signs like seeing birds or seeing, sometimes you'll even see bass busting for that bait. Other times you can see it on the graph. Your graph will fill up. If you've got good graphs, you'll see that bait on there. Also, if you see bait coming up to the surface, dying bait coming up to the surface, that means there's a die-off. But a lot of times that means bass are wounding those bait fish down below, and that's a highly productive area. So make sure you fish those areas. All right, guys, when it comes to these wintertime bass, throwing a rip bait like that MonsterBass's Slim Jim 110 can be ideal. You've just got to make some slight adjustments, like longer pauses and adding some little lead weights to that belly to get that bait down there and really give that slow approach that these wintertime cold bass are looking for. Guys, I hope this video helps you out and helps you catch some more fish. And like always, throw us a thumbs up if you like the video, comment in the section below, and for any more details on the gear or the tackle we're using in this video, check the description box below.